Ah, good evening. Ah, the fruits of my labor are finally showing. Dude. Okay. I wanted to set up a hell of a lot more stuff, a lot more assets for this stream, but I ran out of time. The thumbnail was a little half-assed because I just was running super low on time. And I can't make up my mind for anything. It took me a bit to select the stories I'd be reading out today. Sorry to spoil, but yeah. I need a I gotta make the whatchamacallit. Fuck. Oh my god, I'm at a loss for words. Dude, I'm dreading work so much tomorrow. Tomorrow's gonna be hell. I can already tell. Fuck. I'm out of it. I need an energy drink. I have a 1 week old one here. It was open. Nah. I'll just drink water instead. Yeah. That water might be old too. So creepypastas. We all grew up with them in one way or another. Well, if you were chronically online like I was. Fuck. Oh, that's the one I wanted to put. Instead of Jeff the Killer, I wanted to... Wait. Let me see if I can find it quick. Russian. There it is. Really? 2019? No way. I refuse. I refuse to believe it. Wait, where is it? Estimated reading time. Oh, but that's just a YouTube video. Where's the original story? Let's, Come on, let me... Okay, well, if it's... What's it? Nope. PTSD, psychosis, Herobrine. Suicide Mouse.avi. God. I thought Herobrine was real, bro. I deadass thought Herobrine was real. For the longest time I was looking for him. In my Minecraft games. Which is... I forgot how I used to pirate my, Minecraft game. I probably got like a ton of viruses. And hackers probably made a fortune out of me with how many times I try to download Minecraft for free, no hack. But yeah, back in the day, they used to have, they never had like infinite, quote unquote, generating terrain. It was always like limited to, limited to, God, where the fuck is it? It was like 1,000 blocks by 1,000 blocks or something. They didn't even have the proper nether there. Okay, I might just Russian sleep experiment audio story. Russian sleep experiment. It's also a YouTube video. Find Russian cuisine. Oh wait, is it this? It might be this one. Yes, yes it is. How long is this gonna take? 12 minutes. So, damn, I thought this would be long. Okay, we'll see where this takes us. But yeah. Ay. Well, before we get started, what's new, guys? Anything cool? I went to go buy a bottle of vodka. Hopefully, Saturday I have a gaming stream. It'll probably be towards the afternoon because I'm busy Saturday night, Friday nights too, but I might not be busy because I have like overtime fucking Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Just before Thanksgiving. Whoop-de-fucking-do. That reminds me, I'm flat broke. I'm flat fucking broke, dude. I only have like 50 bucks in my fucking checking account. I'm trying to save up, man, but it's so fucking hard. Drawing stream Saturday, depends on how I feel. It might be even a 2 stream. I don't know just yet. Shit, dude. I keep saying to myself, I'm gonna make like videos, but yeah, it's gonna take a while. Just adjust my mic. It's all weird. There we go. Yeah. Payday is next week on a Wednesday. I'm excited. I need to buy a turkey. For my aunt, if you want to celebrate with us. She doesn't want to pay for the turkey, so I swear to God, I honestly hope to God she doesn't invite guests, because she has a habit of like just inviting so many people I've never met before, and I'm just there sitting in the corner just kind of nodding my head and going like yeah as everyone else is talking, and I'm just kind of sitting there anxious, twiddling my thumbs. I don't look at my phone because I feel that it's rude around people. Yeah, I think it is actually. A lot of kids nowadays don't have self-control, know what I'm saying? Gotta be better. All right. Well, let's dive in. I've got nothing more to say. I don't think. Well, hold on. There's something I wanted to talk about today. I can't remember what it was though. I don't know. What I do know is it was a pain in the ass setting all this up, bro. just the amount of research you need to do to make all this stuff is kind of crazy. And there's a lot more to OBS than I would have ever imagined. I thought it was literally just, okay, do this, do that. If you want to do this, you have to download these add-ons. And because originally I wasn't gonna make the this over here. Wait, am I looking the right one? I think so. This one? Yeah. So originally I wasn't gonna make this. I was just gonna kind of leave it as a flat 2D screen, but kind of wanted to give it some flair, you know, give it some flavor. There's not much going on around here, but lighting was a pain. This was the biggest pain, dude. Yeah, I almost gave up making it. I found out that like a lot of VTubers use a certain lighting thingy that eats up resources real quick. Ugh. But yeah. Anyway. Okay, let's dive in now. For sure. The audio is still a little rough around the edges. I apologize. So, Lavender Town Syndrome. I don't know how I'm supposed to read this actually. God damn it. But why? Whatever. So. Ah, man, this is bringing me back, man. Okay. The Lavender Town Syndrome, also known as Lavender Town Tone or Lavender Town Suicides, was a peak in suicides and illness of children between the ages of 7 to 12, shortly after the release of Pokemon Red and Green in Japan back in February 27, 1996. Rumors say that these suicides and illness only occurred after the children playing the game reached Lavender Town, whose theme music had extremely high frequencies. That studies showed that only children and young teens can hear since their ears are more sensitive. Due to Lavender Town tone, at least 200 children supposedly committed suicide, and many more developed mental illness and afflictions. The children committed... Actually, should I be saying these words? Sewer slide. Fucking YouTube's gonna take me down, man. Committed seppuku. Usually did so by this way or that way from heights. Those who did not act irrationally complained of severe headaches after listening to Lavender Town's theme. Although Lavender Town sounds differently, Although Lavender Town now sounds differently depending on the game, its mass hysteria was caused by the first Pokemon game released. After the Lavender Tone incident, the programmers had fixed Lavender Town's theme music to be at a lower frequency. And since then, children were no longer affected by it. One video appeared in 2010 using special software to analyze the audio of Lavender Town's music. When played, the software created images of unknown near the end of the audio. This raised a controversy since the unknown didn't appear until the second generation games. Silver, Gold, and Crystal. The unknown translate to leave now. There's also the said beta version of Lavender Town. It is said that the beta version of Pocket Monsters was released to some kids to test the game. This is the video of the beta version of Lavender Town. Can I like... Where can I go for this link? Account, loop, copy video URL. Literally just the background. I thought it was gonna be something special. Guess not. God. Okay, I said I was gonna read. I wouldn't say I was gonna read well. I'm poorly spoken as it is, man. Come on. That was a very short reading. Okay. Smile dog. Dude, this fucking image scared the ever-loving shit out of me. I forgot. I thought I saw it on a Facebook post, and they were like, you have to send this to 5 friends, or they will curse you, and this thing's gonna show up and kill you. Ooh. And me being the little fucking shithead that I was, believe this. Yeah. I don't think those 5 friends were friends of mine after that. Okay. I feel like my tongue, it doesn't want to move. Like it's very lazy for some reason. I don't have much, I can't move it around too much or it'll get like, it feels very sluggish. It feels like I can't move it. I can't move it. Sometimes I wonder if there's something seriously wrong with me. If there was too much lead in the water and now I'm slowly going brain dead. Or maybe I just need to stretch my tongue. Alright, let's try. The Smile Dog Creepypasta. I first met in person with Mary E. in the summer of 2007. I had arranged with her husband of 15 years, Terrence, to see her for an interview. Mary initially had agreed, since I was not a newsman, but rather an amateur writer gathering information for a few early college assignments and, if all went according to plan, some pieces of fiction. We scheduled the interview for a particular weekend when I was in Chicago on unrelated business. But at the last moment, Mary changed her mind and locked herself in the couple's bedroom, refusing to meet with me. For half an hour I sat with Terrence as we camped outside the bedroom door. I listening and taking notes while he attempted fruitlessly to calm his wife. The things Mary said made little sense, but fit with the pattern I was expecting. Though I could not see her, I could tell from her voice she was crying, and that more often than not, her objections to speaking with me centered around the incoherent diatribe in her dreams, her nightmares. Terrence apologized profusely when we ceased the exercise, and I did my best to take it in stride. Recall that I wasn't a reporter in search of a story, but merely a curious young man in search of information. Besides, I thought at the time I could perhaps find another similar case if I put my mind and resources to it. Mary E. was the psyop for a small Chicago-based bulletin board system in 1992 when she first encountered smile.jpg, and her life changed forever. She and Terrence had been married only 5 months. Mary was one of the estimated 400 people who saw the image when it was posted on a hyperlink on the BBS, though she is the only one who has spoken openly about the experience. The rest have remained anonymous or are perhaps dead. In 2005, when I was only in 10th grade, smile.jpg was first brought to my attention by burgeoning interest in web-based phenomena. Mary was the most often cited victim of what it is sometimes referred to as smile dog. The being smile.jpg is reputed to display to display. What caught my interest, other than the obvious macabre elements of the cyber legend and my proclivity towards such things, was the sheer lack of information, usually to the point that people don't believe it even exists or other than as a rumor or hoax. It is unique because, though the entire phenomenon centers on a picture file, that file is nowhere to be found on the internet. Certainly, many photo-manipulated simulacra litter the web, showing up with the most frequency on sites such as the image board 4chan, particularly the X-focused paranormal subboard. It is suspected these are fakes because they do not have the effect that the true smile.jpg is believed to have, namely sudden onset temporal lobe epilepsy and acute anxiety. This purported reaction in the viewer is one of the reasons the phantom-like smile.jpg is regarded with such disdain, since it's patently absurd. Though depending on whom you ask, the reluctance to acknowledge smile.jpg's existence might be just as much out of fear as it is out of disbelief. Neither smile.jpg nor smile.dog is mentioned anywhere on Wikipedia. Though the website features articles on such other, perhaps more scandalous shock sites as hello.jpg or 2 girls 1 cup. Any attempt to create a page pertaining to smile.jpg is summarily deleted. Summarily deleted by any of the encyclopedia's many admins. Encounters with the smile.jpg are the stuff of internet legend. Mary E.'s story is not unique. There are unverified rumors of smile.jpg showing up in the early days of Usenet, and even one persistent tale that in 2002, a hacker flooded the forums of humor and satire website Something Awful with a deluge of smile.dog pictures, rendering almost half the forum's users at the time epileptic. It is also said that in the mid to late 90s, smile.jpg circulated on Usenet and as an attachment of a chain email with the subject line, "Smile, God loves you." Yet despite the huge exposure these stunts would generate, there are very few people who admit to having experienced any of them. yet no trace of the file or any link has ever been discovered. Those who claim to have seen smile.jpg often weakly joke that they were far too busy to save a copy of picture to their hard drive. However, all alleged victims offer the same description of the photo. A dog-like creature, usually described as appearing similar to a Siberian husky, illuminated by the flash of a camera, sits in a dim room, the only background detail that is visible being a human hand extending from the darkness. Near the left side of the frame, the hand is empty, but is usually described as beckoning. Of course, most attention is given to the dog or dog creature, as some victims are more certain than others about what they claim to have seen. The muzzle of the beast is reputedly split in a wide grin, revealing 2 rows of very white, very straight, very sharp, very human-looking teeth. This is of course not a description given immediately after viewing the picture, but rather a recollection of the victims who claim to have seen the picture endlessly repeated in their mind's eye during the time they are, in reality, having an epileptic fit. These fits are reported to continue indeterminably, often while the victims sleep, resulting in very vivid and disturbing nightmares. These may be treated with medication, though in some senses it is more effective. In some senses? Huh? Though in some seas, some easies, it is more effective than others. Mary E., I assumed, was not on effective medication. That was why, after my visit to her apartment in 2007, I sent out feelers to several folklore and urban legend-oriented news groups, websites, and mailing lists, hoping to find the name of a supposed victim of smile.jpg who felt more interested in talking about his experiences. For a time, nothing happened, and at length I forgot completely about my pursuits, since I had begun my freshman year of college, and was quite busy. Mary contacted me via email, however, near the beginning of March 2008. Added by Moose Juice to jml@blank.com from Mary E @blank.net. Subject line: Last summer's interview. Dear Mr. L, I am incredibly sorry about my behavior last summer when you came to interview me. I hope you understand that it was no fault of yours, but rather my own problems that led me to act out as I did. I realize that I could have handled the situation more decorously. However, I hope you will forgive me. At the time, I was afraid. You see, for 15 years I have been haunted by smile.jpg. Smile.dog comes to me in my sleep every night. I know that sounds silly, but it is true. There is an ineffable quality about my dreams, my nightmares, that makes them completely unlike any real dreams I've ever had. I do not move and do not speak. I simply look ahead, and the only thing ahead of me is the scene of that horrible picture. I see the beckoning hand, and I see smile.dog. It talks to me. It is not a dog, of course, though I'm not quite sure what it really is. It tells me it will leave me alone if I only do what it asks. All I must do, it says, is spread the word. That is how it phrases its demands, and I know exactly what it means. It wants me to show it to someone else. And I could. The week after my incident, I received in the mail a manila envelope with no return address. Inside was only a 3.5-inch floppy diskette. Without having to check, I knew precisely what was on it. I thought for a long time about my options. I could show it to a stranger, a coworker. I could even show it to Terrence, as much as the idea disgusted me. And what would happen then? Well, if Smile.dog kept its word, I could sleep. Yet if it lied, what would I do? And who was to say something worse would not come for me if I did as the creature asked? So I did nothing for 15 years, though I kept the diskette hidden amongst my things. Every night for 15 years, Smile.dog has come to me in my sleep and demanded that I spread the word. For 15 years I have stood strong. But there have been hard times. Many of my fellow victims on BBS boards, where I first encountered Smile.jpg, stopped posting. I heard some of them have passed. Others remain completely silent, simply disappearing off of the face of the web. They are the ones I worry about the most. I sincerely hope you will forgive me, Mr. L. But last summer, when you contacted me and my husband about an interview, I was near the breaking point. I decided I was going to give you the floppy diskette. I did not care if Smile.dog was lying or not. I wanted it to end. You were a stranger, someone I had no connection with, and I thought I would not feel sorrow when you took the diskette as part of your research and sealed your fate. Before you arrived, I realized what I was doing. I was plotting to ruin your life. I could not stand the thought, and in fact, I still cannot. I am ashamed, Mr. L, and I hope that this warning will dissuade you from further investigation of Smile.jpg. You may in time encounter someone who is, if not weaker than I, then wholly more depraved. Someone who will not hesitate to follow Smile.dog's orders. Stop while you are still whole. Sincerely, Mary E. Terrence contacted me later that month with the news that his wife had passed. While cleaning up the various things she left behind, closing email accounts and the like, he happened upon the above message. He was a man in shambles. He wept as he told me to listen to his wife's advice. He'd found the diskette. He revealed and burned it until it was nothing but a sticking pile of blackened plastic. The part that most disturbed him, however, was how the diskette had hissed as it melted, like some sort of animal, he said. I will admit that I was a little uncertain about how to respond to this. At first I thought perhaps it was a joke, with a couple belatedly playing with the situation in order to get a rise out of me. A quick check of several Chicago's newspapers online, however, proved that Mary E. was indeed dead. There was, of course, no mention of passing in the article. I decided that for a time at least, I would not further pursue the subject of Smile.jpg, especially since I had finals coming up at the end of May. The world has odd ways of testing us. Almost a full year after I'd returned from my disastrous interview with Mary E., I received another email. Oh man, this one's long. Okay. To JML at blank.com from Elzahir 82 at blank.com. Subject line, smile. Hello. I have found your email address through a mailing list. Your profile said you are interested in Smile Dog. I have saw it. It is not as bad as everyone says. I have sent it to you here. Just spreading the word. Smile. Final line chilled me to the bone. According to my email client, Wait, according to my email client, there was only one file attachment called naturally smile.jpg. I considered downloading it for some time. It was most likely a fake, I'd imagined. And even if it weren't, I was never wholly convinced of smile.jpg's peculiar powers. Mary E's account had shaken me, yes, but she was probably mentally unbalanced anyway. After all, how could a simple image do what smile.jpg was said to accomplish? What sort of creature was it that could break one's mind with only the power of the eye? And if such things were patently absurd, then why did the legend exist at all? If I downloaded the image, if I looked at it, and if Mary turned out to be correct, if smile.dog came to me in my dreams demanding I spread the word, what would I do? Would I live my life as Mary had, fighting against the urge to give in until I died? Or would I simply spread the word, eager to be put to rest? And if I chose the latter route, how could I do it? Whom would I burden in turn? If I went through with my earlier intention to write a short article about smile.jpg, I decided I could attach it as evidence, and anyone who read the article, anyone who took the interest, would be affected. And even assuming the smile.jpg attached to the email was genuine, would I be capricious enough to save myself in that manner? Could I spread the word? Yes. Yes, I could. Damn. Fucking horrifying. Oh, I do see the hand. You know, now looking at it, it's kind of stupid and goofy. But I don't know, something about the teeth. Something about the teeth just freaks me the fuck out. Human teeth on a dog. Creepy. And all this is just other stuff. Fun facts and snippets about smile.jpg. Oh wait, actually, the origin of both the original image of the husky and the first appearance of the altered image are unknown, with their creator still being anonymous, a fact that only adds to the story's effectiveness by adding at least the suggestion that the image could have an origin other than just somebody editing and posting an image of their dog. This inability to pin down the exact origin of the story also ties in with the meta elements of the creepypasta story itself, in which the narrator describes how the image could not be traced, and references to it on popular websites or incidents linked to it seem to disappear or be suppressed, suggesting that there are forces that do not want the background of the image or information about its power to be discussed in a public forum. The general consensus on the first appearance of the creepypasta relating to the image is that it first appeared in 2008 on the 4chan X board, though even this origin remains frustratingly nonspecific and unclear. Following this initial posting, the story spread becomes a little clearer. In 2009, a post on Urban Dictionary gave an explanation of the story as a definition for the term smile.jpg. In April 2010, a thread opened by anonymous Ethan on Movie Codec forums discussing the image and story. Here, the idea that the image's origin was unclear was again underscored by the poster. Later that same year, a live-action video about the story was uploaded to YouTube by a user unknown as Saboom. Oh, by a user known as Saboom. On the 27th of August, the story got its own page on the Creepypasta wiki. Is this it?
If you spend enough time on the internet, Mary had one that would beat out all the rest. Something genuinely terrifying, genuinely paranormal.
There's something. This one's it, right? Right? 4 years ago. True. What's this?
The total lack of information about the image, to the point that often people believe it to be a hoax.
Oh, this is the retelling?
Legend-oriented news.
Entire time, like it's some sort of weird deity.
They're dropping like flies. Where are all my friends? Like,
True. Hey guys, look at this cool picture. I don't know. I think I'd be a retard to go like, hey guys, look at this picture. Funny dog. Showing his teeth. Yeah, just to get the fucking schizophrenia out of my head, you know? I think I would do it. See what happens. If it don't, then fuck me, I guess. Yeah, I don't want to live with that shit. All I gotta do is pass down? Sure, you got it, bro. Okay. Now this one I thought was a creepypasta. It turns out it was just a let's not meet story. Probably. Probably a creepypasta. Wait. Was this real? Actually, we'll read it afterwards. I'm stretching my tongue. Maybe some water will help. God, I can't say like W. Water. Maybe some water will help. Water. Willy water well washed. I don't know. I'm weird, bro. I don't know. There's definitely lead in the water. I wish I had something to eat. I'll live. Oh. Quick intermission. Where'd I go? Whoa. I disappeared on the screen. Quick intermission. I definitely like doing this. And I may not be the best at it. You know, there will be more streams like this in the future because I'm trying to improve my reading voice. I'm trying to be a little more well-spoken too. I feel like this is good practice. That's really all this is. But I felt like a good start would probably be reading some nice creepypastas. A blast from the past. Yeah. Have any of these creepypastas ever terrified you? How about you put that in the comments down below? Or say it in chat, better yet. No time like the present, baby. The Smiling Man. About 5 years ago, I lived downtown in a major city in the US. I've always been a night person, so I would often find myself bored after my roommate, who was decidedly not a night person, went to sleep. To pass the time, I used to go for long walks and spend the time thinking. I spent 4 years like that, walking alone at night, and never once had I had a reason to feel afraid. I always used to joke with my roommate that even the drug dealers in the city were polite. But all that changed in just a few minutes of one evening. It was Wednesday, somewhere between 1 and 2 in the morning, and I was walking near a police patrolled park quite a ways from my apartment. It was quiet that night, even for a weeknight, with very little traffic and almost no one on foot. The park, as it was most nights, was completely empty. I turned down the short side of the street in order to loop back to my apartment when I first noticed him. At the far end of the street on my side was a silhouetted man dancing. It was a very strange dance, similar to a waltz, but he finished each box with an odd forward stride. I guess you could say he was dance walking, headed straight for me. Deciding he was probably drunk, I stepped as close as I could to the road to give him the majority of the sidewalk. To pass me by, the closer he got, the closer he got, the more I realized how gracefully he was moving. He was very tall and lanky, and wearing an old suit. He danced closer still, until I could make out his face. His eyes were open and wild, head tilted back slightly, looking off to the sky. His mouth was formed in a painfully wide cartoon of a smile. Between the eyes and the smile, I decided to cross the street before he danced any closer. I took my eyes off of him to cross the empty street. As I reached the other side, I glanced back and then stopped dead in my tracks. He had stopped dancing and was standing with one foot in the street. And was standing with one foot in the street, perfectly parallel to me. Ow, my eye, fuck. Eyelash. And wearing, wait, where was I? Okay, let's try that again. He had stopped dancing and was standing with one foot in the street, perfectly parallel to me. He was facing me, but still looking skyward, smile still wide on his lips. I was completely and utterly unnerved by this. I started walking again, but kept my eyes on the man. He didn't move. Once I had put about half a block between us, I turned away from him for a moment to watch the sidewalk in front of me. The street and sidewalk ahead of me were completely empty. Still unnerved, I looked back where he had been standing to find him gone. For the briefest moments, I felt relieved until I noticed him. He had crossed the street and was now slightly crouched down. I couldn't tell for sure due to the distance and the shadows, but I was certain he was facing me. I had looked away from him for no more than 10 seconds, so it was clear that he moved fast. I was so shocked that I stood there for some time, staring at him, and then he started moving toward me again. He took giant, exaggerated, tiptoed steps, as if he were a cartoon character sneaking up on someone, except he was moving very, very quickly. I'd like to say at this point I ran or pulled out my pepper spray or cell phone or anything at all, but I didn't. I just stood there, completely frozen as the smiling man crept towards me. And then he stopped again, about a car length away from me. Still smiling, smile, still looking to the sky. When I finally found my voice, I blurted out the first thing that came to mind. What I meant to ask was, "What the fuck do you want?" in an angry, commanding tone. What came out was a whimper. What the fuck? Regardless of whether or not humans can smell regardless of whether or not humans can smell fear, they can certainly hear it. I heard it in my own voice, and that only made me more afraid. But he didn't react to it all. Give me a sec. Ugh. God. Okay. But he didn't react to it at all. He just stood there, smiling. And then after what felt like forever, he turned around very slowly and started dance walking away. Just like that. Not wanting to turn my back to him again, I just watched him go until he was far enough away to almost be out of sight. And then I realized something. He wasn't moving away anymore, nor was he dancing. I watched in horror as the distant shape of him grew larger and larger, and he was coming back my way, and this time he was running. I ran too. I ran until I was off the side of the road and back onto a better lit road with sparse traffic. Looking behind me then, he was nowhere to be found the rest of the way home. I kept glancing over my shoulder, always expecting to see a stupid smile, but he was never there. I lived in that city for 6 months after that night, and I never went out for another walk. There was something about his face that always haunted me. He didn't look drunk, he didn't look high, he looked completely and utterly insane, and that's a very, very scary thing to see. Okay, and let's read this comment. Thanks to everyone who took the time to read. The first time I told this was to my roommate, who was appropriately mortified. The second time was to a friend who simply joked, "Sounds like he was just trying to party with you." True. Come on, man. You're killing my buzz here. I just wanted to offer you some shrooms. Some hero brine. Some marijuana. Most of my other friends seem to agree that he was either on drugs or going out of his way to try to mess with me. And to people comparing him to Slender Man, I should add, he was tall, normal tall. It probably doesn't help my perspective that I'm short. It was weird to write this out since I've only told it to people in person where I don't have to try and explain his movement but can simply act it out. And to anyone doubting the truth of this story, I assure you, it happened. I'm not afraid of ghosts, devils, or monsters. It's people that frighten me. Okay. Yeah. 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 All right. The Russian sleep experiment. The picture always horrified me. I remember seeing it on a YouTube thumbnail. Russian sleep experiment. Where is it? Yeah, it was this one. But it was just the creepy picture. You make him look so goofy. What the fuck? Hey, there I am. Nice. Nice. True. I'm sorry. I don't have any good jokes. There's nothing I can say off the cuff that'll be funny because, man, am I tired. Reading is all I can muster. It was something like this, yeah. I used to think this was real. I thought this was like 100% real, and that the Russians were developing fucking demon people. All you needed to do was just stay awake a couple of nights and you would unleash the beast. Okay. Russian sleep experiment. Russian researchers in the late 1940s kept 5 people awake for 15 days using an experimental gas-based stimulant. They were kept in a sealed environment to carefully monitor their oxygen intake so the gas didn't kill them. Since it was toxic in high concentrations, this was before closed-circuit cameras, so they had only microphones and 5-inch thick glass porthole-sized windows into the chamber to monitor them. The chamber was stocked with books, cots to sleep on, but no bedding. Running water and toilet, and enough dried food to last all 5 for over a month. The test subjects were political prisoners deemed enemies of the state during World War II. Everything was fine for the first 5 days. The subjects hardly complained, having been promised falsely that they would be freed if they submitted to the test, and did not sleep for 30 days. Their conversations and activities were monitored, and it was noted that they continued to talk about increasingly traumatic incidents in their past. And the general tone of their conversations took on a darker aspect after the 4-day mark. After 5 days, they started to complain about the circumstances and events that led them to where they were and started to demonstrate severe paranoia. They stopped talking to each other and began alternately whispering to the microphones and one-way mirrored portholes. Wait, am I reading this wrong? Wait, they stopped talking to each other and began alternately whispering to the microphones and one-way mirrored portholes. Oh, yeah, okay. Oddly, they all seemed to think that they could win the trust of the experimenters by turning over their comrades, the other subjects in captivity with them. At first, the researchers suspected this was an effect of the gas itself. After 9 days, the first of them started screaming. He ran the length of the chamber, repeatedly yelling at the top of his lungs for 4 hours straight. He continued attempting to scream, was only able to produce occasional squeaks. The researchers postulated that he had physically torn his vocal cords. The most surprising thing about his behavior is how the other captives reacted to it, or rather, didn't react to it. They continued whispering to the microphones until the second of the captives started to scream. The 2 non-screaming captives took the books apart, smeared page after page with their own feces, and pasted them calmly. Oh. Typo. And passed them calmly over the glass portholes. The screaming promptly stopped. So did the whispering to the microphones. After 3 more days passed, the researchers checked the microphones hourly to make sure they were working, since they thought it impossible that no sound could be coming with 5 people inside. Oh wait, give me a sec. I need to turn off my heater. I'll stop sweating. Ooh. Pardon me. Where was I? Okay, I'll just read this paragraph. After 3 more days passed, the researchers checked the microphones hourly to make sure they were working, since they thought it possible that no sound could be coming with 5 people inside. The oxygen consumption in the chamber indicated that all 5 must still be alive. In fact, it was the amount of oxygen 5 people would consume at a very heavy level of strenuous exercise. On the morning of the 14th day, the researchers did something they said they would not do to get a reaction from the captives. They used the intercom inside the chamber, hoping to provoke any response from the captives. They were afraid. From the captives they were afraid were either dead or vegetables. They announced, "We are opening the chamber to test the microphones. Step away from the door and lie flat on the floor, or you will be shot. Compliance will earn one of you your immediate freedom." To their surprise, they heard a single phrase in a calm voice response: "We no longer want to be freed." Debate broke out among the researchers and the military forces funding the research. Unable to provoke any more response using the intercom, it was finally decided to open the chamber at midnight on the 15th day. The chamber was flushed of the stimulant gas and filled the fresh air, and immediately voices from the microphones began to object. 3 different voices began begging, as if pleading for their life of loved ones. Whoops. I keep misreading. I'm sorry. As if pleading for the life of loved ones to turn the gas back on. The chamber was opened, and soldiers sent in to retrieve the test subjects. They began to scream louder than ever, and so did the soldiers when they saw what was inside. 4 of the 5 subjects were still alive, although no one could rightly call the state that any of them in life. The food rations past day 5 had not been so much as touched. There were chunks of meat from the dead test subjects' thighs and chests stuffed into the drain in the center of the chamber, blocking the drain and allowing 4 inches of water to accumulate on the floor. Precisely how much of the water on the floor was actually blood was never determined. All 4 surviving test subjects also had large portions of muscle and skin torn away from their bodies. The destruction of flesh and exposed bone on their fingertips indicated that the wounds were inflicted by hand, not with teeth, as the researchers initially thought. Closer examinations of the position and angles of the wounds indicated that most, if not all of them, were self-inflicted. The abdominal organs below the rib cage of all 4 test subjects had been removed. While the heart, lungs, and diaphragm remained in place, the skin and most of the muscles attached to the ribs had been ripped off, exposing the lungs through the rib cage. All the blood vessels and organs remained intact. They had just been taken out and laid on the floor, fanning out around the eviscerated but still living bodies of the subjects. The digestive tract of all 4 could be seen to be working, digesting food. It quickly became apparent that what they were digesting was their own flesh that they had ripped off and eaten over the course of days. Oh god, I'm getting sick. I'm getting the weird shakes. I'm just imagining this in my head, what it must have looked like. Most of the soldiers were Russian special operatives at the facility, but still many refused to return to the chamber to remove the test subjects. They continued to scream to be left in the chamber and alternately begged and demanded that the gas be turned back on, lest they fall asleep. To everyone's surprise, The test subjects put up a fierce fight in the process of being removed from the chamber. One of the Russian soldiers died from having his throat ripped out. Another was gravely injured by having his testicles ripped off and an artery in his leg severed by one of the subject's teeth. Another 5 of the soldiers lost their lives, if you count the ones that committed suicide in the weeks following the incident. In the struggle, one of the 4 living subjects had his spleen ruptured, and he bled out almost immediately. The medical researchers attempted to sedate him, but this proved impossible. He was injected with more than 10 times the human dose of morphine derivative and still fought like a cornered animal, breaking the ribs and arms of one doctor. When the heart was seen to beat for a full 2 minutes after he had bled out, to the point there was more air in his vascular system than blood. Even after it stopped, he continued to scream and flail for another 3 minutes, struggling to attack anyone in reach and just repeating the word more over and over, weaker and weaker, until he finally fell silent. The surviving 3 test subjects were heavily restrained and moved to a medical facility, the 2 with intact vocal cords continuously begging for the gas, demanding to be kept awake. The most injured of the 3 was taken to the only surgical operating room that the facility had. In the process of preparing the subject to have his organs placed back within his body, it was found that he was effectively immune to the sedative that they had given him to prepare him for the surgery. He fought furiously against his restraints when the anesthetic gas was brought out to put him under. He managed to tear most of the way through a 4-inch wide leather strap on one wrist, even though the weight of a 200-pound soldier was holding that wrist as well. It took only a little more anesthetic than normal to put him under, and the instant his eyelids fluttered and closed, his heart stopped. In the autopsy of the test subject that died on the operating table, it was found that his blood had tripled the normal level of oxygen. His muscles that were still attached to his skeleton were badly torn, and he had broken 9 bones in his struggle to not be subdued. Most of them were from the force his own muscles had exerted on them. Man, how long is this one? Wow, this one's pretty long. It's very long. Long-ish. The second survivor had been the first of the group of 5 to start screaming. His vocal cords were destroyed. He was unable to beg or object to surgery, and he only reacted by shaking his head violently in disapproval. When the anesthetic gas was brought out near him, he shook his head yes when someone suggested reluctantly they tried the surgery without anesthetic, and did not react for an entire 6-hour procedure of replacing his abdominal organs and attempting to cover them with what remained of his skin. The surgeon presiding stated repeatedly that it should be medically impossible for this patient to still be alive. One terrified nurse assisting the surgery stated that he had seen the patient's mouth curl into a smile several times whenever his eyes met hers. When the surgery ended, the subject looked at the surgeon and began to wheeze loudly, attempting to talk while struggling. Assuming that this must be something of drastic importance, the surgeon had a pen and pad fetched so the patient could write his message. It was simple. Keep cutting. The other 2 test subjects were given the same surgery, both without anesthetic as well. Although they had to be injected with a paralytic for the duration of the operation. The surgeon found it impossible to perform the operation while the patients laughed continuously. Who would have thunk it? Once paralyzed, the subjects could only follow the attending researchers with their eyes. The paralytic cleared their system in an abnormally short period of time, and they were soon trying to escape their bonds. I need more water. Oh god. The moment they could speak, they were again asking for the stimulant gas. The researchers tried asking why they had injured themselves, why they had ripped their own guts, and why they wanted to be given the gas again. Only one response was given. I must. Oh. Damn, that didn't work. I must remain awake. All 3 subjects' restraints were reinforced, and they were placed back into the chamber, awaiting determination as to what should be done with them. The researchers, facing the wrath of their military benefactors for having failed the stated goals of their project, considered euthanizing the surviving subjects. The commanding officer, a former KGB agent, instead saw potential and wanted to see what would happen if they were put back on the gas. The researchers strongly objected, but were overruled. In preparation for being sealed in the chamber again, the subjects were connected to an EEG monitor and had their restraints padded for a long-term confinement. To everyone's surprise, all 3 stopped struggling the moment it was let slip that they were going back on the gas. It was obvious at this point all 3 were putting up a great struggle to stay awake. One of the subjects that could speak was humming loudly and continuously. The mute subject was straining his legs against the leather bonds with all his might, first left, then right, then left again for something to focus on. The remaining subject was holding his head off his pillow and blinking rapidly. Having been the first to be wired for EEG, most of the researchers were monitoring his brain waves in surprise. They were normal most of the time, but sometimes flatlined inexplicably. It looked as if he were repeatedly suffering from brain death before returning to normal. As they focused on paper scrolling out of the brainwaves monitor, only one nurse saw his eyes slip shut at the same moment his head hit his pillow. His brain waves immediately changed to that of a deep sleep, then flatlined for the last time as his heart simultaneously stopped. The only remaining subject that could speak started screaming to be sealed in now. His brain waves showed the same flat lines as the one who had just died from falling asleep. The commander gave the order to seal the chamber with both subjects inside, as well as 3 researchers. One of the named 3 immediately drew his gun and shot the commander point blank between the eyes, then turned the gun on the mute subject, then blew his brains out as well. He pointed his gun at the remaining subject, still restrained to a bed, as the remaining members of the medical room and research team fled the room. I won't be locked in here with these things. Not with you. He screamed at the man strapped to the table. What are you? He demanded. I must know. The subject smiled. Have you forgotten so easily? The subject asked. We are you. We are the madness that lurks within you all, begging to be free at every moment in your deepest animal mind. We are what you hide from in your beds every night. We are what you sedate into silence and paralysis when you go to the nocturnal haven where we cannot tread. The researcher paused, then aimed at the subject's heart and fired. The EEG flatlined as the subject weakly choked out. So nearly free. Such a good story. God. Ooh. Maybe I should have had an energy drink. I'm tripping over myself here. Yeah, I'll read this. So, let's read some fun facts. Whilst there are a number of images associated with the Russian sleep experiment, and the story is of an event rather than about an individual or character, there is one image that is most well known and most commonly linked to the story, and which most fans will instantly recognize. The image shows a humanoid creature staring blankly into the camera. The figure is horribly emaciated, a fact that is further emphasized by the extent to which the eyes are sunken back into the sockets, the brow and cheekbones protruding to an unnatural extent. The teeth, meanwhile, are of an unusually large size and are forced forward by the denies, what does that even mean, of the subject into a maniacal looking grin. Was it a grin? I don't think it was a grin. Guys. The subject's hugely exaggerated features, enlarged head, and huddled posture, first with the concept of them being as much of a victim as a threat. The image is in black and white, in which lends which lends it some authenticity, considering the period in which it is alleged to be taken. Thankfully, though, the image is fake, and rather than being a human being, is in fact a photograph of a Halloween prop called Spasm, created in 2005 by Morbid Enterprises. There is some disagreement as to where the story first originated, whilst some sources claim that the tale's first appearance can be linked back to a user known only as Orange Soda, who posted the story to the Creepypasta website on August 10th, 2010. Others trace its origins to an August 8th, 2009 post on the RIP747 WordPress blog, pointing out that the story was also posted to the miscellaneous board of bodybuilding forums by a user named Falcon Punch on August 20th, 2009, which would again predate Orange Soda's posts on Creepypasta. It is also worth noting that the post on the RIP747 blog claimed that the story has been shared with him by his brother. Strange. And whilst this may be a narrative device intended to distance the author from the piece, it could be regarded as evidence that the story existed prior to this post. Whilst some believe British author Ice to have written the original creepypasta based upon the fact that she produced a book of the same NME? With the same name. Oh, okay. She has clarified that she was simply inspired by an earlier work and is not the myth's originator. Following Orange Soda's post on Creepypasta, a page was set up for the story on August 16, 2010. The story was then picked up and read aloud on the Mr. Creepypasta channel on November 2011. After being shared by Griffin23 and receiving favorable reactions on the r/WTF subreddit in October of 2012, the story got a dedicated site, RussianSleepExperiment.com, on March 7, 2013. The story was read aloud on YouTube over black and white images by I Read Creepypastas in a video uploaded on on the 1st of October 2013. This may be the first time that the narrative was linked to the images so famously associated with it, and in its first year alone, the video garnered over 11 million views. Wow. Wait, real life influence? Huh. Yeah, dude. I fucking thought this was real. Oh, God. The gas is almost like PCB. No way, dude. No way. We're theorizing this. The subjects exhibited almost superhuman strength and went to crazy lengths to get what they wanted, and literally ignored the fact they were severely injuring themselves. Huh. You know, you guys remember the, what was that? What was that called? The bath salts zombie. I forgot where that one must have been like LA or something. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of that. Yeah, the dude ate up fucking homeless man's face. What the hell, man? Literally the Russian sleep experiment in real life. Jesus Christ. I've seen this story before, but reading it again is still shocking true. I don't do well with gore. I don't, man. I don't. Imagine melatonin in these circumstances. I mean, they would probably die on the spot now. My body doesn't produce melatonin. They would probably DIS. True. Literally me, actually. Okay. I think that's enough for today. It is 8:38, and I have work tomorrow. Wait, let me see if there's anything else that calls out to me. Anything that I can read in a short period of time. Nina the killer. Oh, Robert the doll. Wait, but this isn't a creepypasta, is it? I gotta read. Wait, okay, how long is this gonna take? Oh. 3 minutes. Let's do it. Some reading time. Okay, wait. So is this the actual story? Oh, it is the story. I think this might just be a news article, though. Yeah, this is the motherfucker. Oh, fuck. I think I'm gonna get haunted, guys. You can't speak ill of Robert or he will come after you. Oh, fuck. But it might just be to his face. I don't know. I don't know about just photos and stuff. Sorry, I gotta clear my throat. Give me a sec. Okay. So. Okay. In the late 1800s, Thomas Otto and his family moved into a mansion at the corner of Eaton and Simonton streets in Key West, Florida, now known as the Artist House. The Ottos were known to be stern with their servants, sometimes even mistreating them. It was the mistreatment of one such Haitian servant that provides a twist in this story. This woman was hired to take care of their son, Robert. One day, Mrs. Otto supposedly witnessed her practicing black magic in their backyard and fired her. Before she left, the woman gave Robert a lifelike doll which stood 3 feet tall, had buttons for eyes, human hair believed to be Robert's, and was filled with straw. The dolls that resembled children were not unheard of during this time, but this one proved to be special. Robert named the doll after himself and often dressed it in his clothes. Robert the doll became his trustworthy companion. He took it with him on shopping trips into town. The doll had a seat at the dinner table where Robert would sneak it bites of food when his parents weren't looking. I would kill that kid. What the hell are you doing? Stop playing with your food. Robert would even be tucked into bed with the boy at night. Soon this innocent relationship took on a strange nature. Soon after, Robert chose to be referred to by his middle name, Jean. After being scolded by his mother, he told her that Robert was the doll's name, not his. Jean was often heard in his toy room having conversations with Robert. Jean would say something in his childish manner, and responses could be heard in a much lower voice. It's pretty unnerving, actually. Sometimes Jean would become very agitated, worrying the servants and his mother. She would on occasion burst in to find her son cowering in a corner, while Robert sat perched in a chair or on the bed glaring at him. This was only the beginning. Household objects would be found thrown across the room. Jean's toys turned up mutilated, and giggling can be heard. Whenever these unusual acts took place, Jean always said, "Robert did it." The boy took the punishment, but always insisted that the blame was Robert's. As the mischief grew, more and more servants took their leave as new ones were hired. The Otto's relatives felt it was time to do something. With the recommendation of a great aunt, Jean's parents removed Robert from his care and placed him in a box in the attic. This is where he resided for many years. After the death of his father, Jean was willed his boyhood home. He decided to live in the Victorian mansion with his new wife. Jean had become an artist and felt the house was spacious and would provide a place for him to paint. He went to the attic and dusted off his childhood toy. He became attached to the doll despite his wife's displeasure. Jean would take the doll along with him everywhere they went. He even sat in his favorite little chair while Jean and his wife slept nearby. The turret room became Robert's domain after Mrs. Otto moved him back to the attic. Their marriage slowly became sour until Mrs. Otto supposedly went insane and died of unknown reasons. Jean followed soon behind. Robert supposedly attacked people, sometimes locking them in the attic. I would apologize. Robert supposedly attacked people, sometimes locking them in the attic. People who passed by claimed to hear evil laughter coming from the turret room. For some time, Robert remained in the empty house by himself until a new family purchased the mansion and restored it. The doll was once again moved to the attic. This pleased it as much as the last time. The doll was often found throughout the house. On one certain night, Robert was found at the foot of the owner's bed giggling, a kitchen knife in hand. This was enough to send them fleeing from the home. Robert was later moved to the East Martello Museum in Key West, where he sits perched in a glass box, despite his new living quarters. The doll is believed to not have given up his menacing ways. Visitors and employees claim they have seen the doll move. His smile has been known to turn into a scowl. One employee cleaned Robert, turned off all the lights, and left for the night. Huh? Cleaned Robert, turned off all the lights, and left for the night? What? The next day, he returned to find lights turned on, Robert sitting in a different position than the night before, and a fresh layer of dust on his shoes. Some say he'll even curse you. If you want to take a picture of him, you must ask politely. He'll tilt his head in permission. However, if he doesn't, and you take a picture anyways, a curse will befall upon you, and anyone who accompanied you to the museum. The same will happen if you make fun of him. Uh-oh. Wait, that's just at the museum, right? That's just at the museum, right? Right, guys? Guys? Right? Say it right, please. To this day, Robert remains in the East Martello Museum in his sailor suit, clutching his stuffed lion, continuing his menacing ways. Wait, this is the doll that actually inspired Chucky? Is that so? I thought it was the Maribel doll or something. Visiting Robert the doll is definitely on my to-do list when visiting Florida. Fuck that. Okay. That was not 3 minutes, bro. I'm just a slow reader, though. Well, I'd like to thank you all for joining me today. And thank you for bearing with my very slow, very stuttery reading. If you're watching the VOD, I'd like to see you in the next one. I'm not sure how I'm gonna schedule these streams just yet, but I'm working on it. Man, I've looked on my my YouTube studio and found that I've done 30 streams so far. So I'm hoping to get to 100 one day. Gonna keep this up, keep this energy going. I still don't know what I'm doing as a streamer, but you know, we all gotta learn sometime. I hope you all have a good night, good morning, good rest of your day, and see you guys in the next one. Bye.